Hey, this is Pablo with LSP Data, and continuing our series of finding specific data sets to help you find, distressed properties, right? And increasing the likelihood that you're going to find an actual motivated seller, right? Instead of just pulling whatever list your favorite YouTuber gives you from PropStream, right? Understanding that thousands of people are going to watch that video and they're all going to pull the same list, right? So in this instance, I'm going to be talking about open data. And if you looked at my last videos, we touched on USPS vacancies, finding vacant data or vacant properties, I should say, how you can leverage publicity works to find code violations. In this instance, we're going to be touching on open data, which includes things like 311 service requests, which I've also made a video about that. But in this instance, I'm going to be using the city of Dallas and Chicago, more specifically Cook County, to give you a better idea of how to find a lot of this distressed properties, right? I know I've had a lot of people or other customers that I work with that had difficulty finding some of this data because it's not as publicly available as it is, let's say, in Texas, right? A lot of the Northeast states are a little bit tighter when it comes to some of the data. But anyways, for the rest of you, most states or most cities do have an open data. So let's say you live in Dallas, you can just type open data Dallas, right? I'm in the Texas market, so my results are going to be geared towards Texas. But if I click on it, and again, this applies to Texas, to Illinois, right? So I can do the same thing when it comes to Chicago open data, right? My suggestion would be to also not only look for the city that you're in, but also look for the county, because a lot of times the county has that information already, but it might not be as easy to find it, right? So let's say I'm in Chicago, Cook County. What I like to do is look at the recently updated, because a lot of this list, they might have the relevant information that you're looking for, but you want to make sure that you have the most up-to-date, right? And the beauty of those is that they're updated daily, right? So for example, there's things in my instance, we're looking for certain parcel information, right? So if I were to give you a list of items to look for, probably be parcel information, service request, or code violations. So recently updated. So there's a lot of data sets here that might be of interest to you. For example, going back to Chicago, right? If you look into Chicago data portal and you do the same searches that I just went through, right? Let's say you do for 311 service request, you might get more relevant information, right? So on this one's updated today. If we look at it, I already had it open here. You can click on view data and it's going to show you what was the department which they call, right? How did they call? So again, just a short summary on some of those data requests. Concerned citizens are the ones that are going to call, right? Because their property might be a nuisance, there might be trash or illegal dumping there, or they might be homeless or squatters breaking into the houses, which a lot of times are vacant, right? But this is going to give you an idea of what's going on with that particular property and the location of it, right? Some of it, for example, this one is going to give us the actual complaint, right? So for example, some of our might be abandoned vehicles and whatnot, dumping, etc. But depending on what you're looking for, obviously you'll find that information, right? And again, the beauty of this is that it's updated almost real time. So no commercial software like PropStream or anyone else is going to have access to this data unless they decide to pull it one day. But I can guarantee you that that's not the case. Same thing for code violations, right? Building violations. These ones are pretty recent as well. So depending on the description, right? Again, you're gonna get a lot. Spend some time here looking at the actual descriptions to get a good idea of what's the issue, right? And again, like I mentioned in the last video, if you're a real estate investor or if you're a wholesaler, right? Once you reach the property owner, you want to make sure you have a good idea of what's going on with the property, so that way you can ask more accurate questions. Like maybe if you know that there's a code violation for the roof caving in, then you can say, hey, I understand, there's some issues with the roof. Can you tell me more about it, right? And you're validating this, but at the same time, you can work those numbers better, like when it comes to ARV, and just get a better understanding of the background of the property condition, right? For example, this one's putting together the information for Chicago, right? And what we can do as well is like we can cross correlate, USPS vacancies, code violations, or service requests, or any other information. And we're also tying in the appraisal district data, so that way you have relevant information. Just skip trace it, which we also offer skip tracing services. So let us know how we can help. In this instance, I'm showing you the Dallas service request one, right? Here's some of the keywords that we look for. And again, that information is readily available to export as a spreadsheet, right? So depending on your time and effort, right? A lot of you may have a lot of time because, you might not work, or maybe you want to get ahead of the competition. While many of you, this is your full-time job, you already have money to invest in lists, right? In leads. And maybe you want to invest most of your time just, picking up the phone and calling, right? Or doing, physical mails or whatever the case might be. But just reminding you that we can help with those data leads as well. And that's about it. Let us know if you have any questions. Let me know if you want me to cover anything specific when it comes to data. And I want to remind you that we put together this list of these are nationwide, which has the link of those code violations. A lot of those are open data requests sites, and also 311 service requests. So you can click on the link in the YouTube description to get access to those for free. And again, if you have any questions, reach out, and see you next time.